I don't think that Euphoria gets the credit that it deserves. I don't think it does. I think this is one of my favorite Stegmaier games. And it really does deserve more than it gets. I don't know if I hear anyone talking about this. And yeah, it's just cool. So this one is, let me talk about it. Timestamp. What is it? Euphoria is a dice worker placement game set in a dystopian world. Essentially, if I could have played this instead of read 1984 in high school, I think I would have had a much better time learning about dystopian literature and ideas. But I didn't. So, custom dice, worker placement, based off of, you want people to be as happy as possible while remaining as ignorant as possible. Because if they gain too much knowledge and become less ignorant, then they realize the dystopia in which they live and they want to leave. And that's how you can lose dice and lose workers that you then have to gain back. Not those same workers, new workers that you indoctrinate and that are happy and dumb. Alternatively, you want them to be happy because you want them to focus on their happiness and not on the perspective of where they are. So one of the reasons why I think this is such a good game is I believe this is one of the best integration of theme and mechanics that exists in the Stegmaier catalog and across a lot of games in general. I think how you play with the components and the way that thematically relates to the game and the world is it's so good. But it may be too dry for people. I don't know. I have this game and the expansion in here, Ignorance is Bliss, and man, I honestly, this just makes me want to get this game out, and this makes me want to play it again. I need to play this with Amber, so I can see what she thinks. But so the designers. This is designed by Jamey Stegmaier, Alan Stone, art by Jackie Davis. This is one of the first Stegmaier titles. This came before Scythe, I'm pretty sure. 90% sure it came before Scythe. And then Scythe, blew up. It was a massively successful crowdfunding game. And it's one of, it, Wingspan, and maybe Viticulture are the three top sellers for Stegmaier. Really mainly just Scythe and Wingspan are the, runaway crowd favorites. And I feel like Euphoria has been somewhat forgotten. And that makes me sad, because I think it's a super good game. All right. Timestamp. Why I have it. I have this because, as I mentioned before, over the course of the 2 years or more, 2.5 maybe now, I don't know. Yeah, 2.5 maybe. I've done a 1.5 years here. Yeah, maybe like 2.5 years that I have been doing reviewing / engaging in the board game industry, however you want to call it. I very early on started to try to review Stegmaier titles, and they quickly became one of the publishers that was the most generous and the most frequent in terms of offering review opportunities and review titles. And so I just started reviewing my way through the catalog. At that time, I already had Scythe and maybe one other game, and I'd already played a couple other Stegmaier titles. But I just started getting the games and playing them. And this is actually probably one of the most recent ones. So I have the Tapestry expansion, which I need to be playing and reviewing pronto. Newborns get in the way of things. So I need to be playing the expansion for that. But beyond that, Euphoria was it's been since I've lived here that I've played it. So it's been in the last 1.5 years. And I was quite surprised with how much I enjoyed this one. And maybe it's because I have a inclination towards worker placement games. They're maybe one of my favorite mechanics. One of my early loves was Lords of Waterdeep. I really enjoy Dune Imperium. I have a big fondness for Dwellings of Eldervale. And then you have games like, Shem Phillips titles, Architects of the West Kingdom, Raiders of the North Sea. I like worker placement quite a lot. And so this, as a dice worker placement, was both a unique twist on what I have seen, and also I really love the integration of the theme in here. So why I have it is because I review titles from Stegmaier when I have the opportunity, and this was one that I had the opportunity to do. When did I get it? So I don't believe I moved with any games that I had not reviewed. I don't think I did. I think when I moved, all the games that I had already been reviewed. So I have had this in the last year and a half, which means I've had this since sometime between the summer of 2020 and, is that how math works? Yeah, sometime between the summer of 2020 and now is when I got this, closer to the summer of 2020. I've had this for at least 6 months. So that's when I got it. Timestamp. And timestamp if I missed one. Will it leave? It is possible that sometime down the road this game could leave, but I would really like to get several different plays in at multiple player counts beyond what I already have. I've played this. Did the expansion? Ignorance is Bliss might have given it Automa rules to where you could play it solo. Maybe. I can't remember. I played this for sure at 2. Maybe at 1. I can't remember. But yeah, I want to play this at 2 again. I want to play it at 3. I want to play it at 4. I don't think I want to play it at 5 or 6. Don't think I do. Not the kind of game I'd want to play with 5 or 6 people. But 2, 3, and 4, I'd like to play it at those player counts, and I'd like to play a couple of times to where at least 1 or 2 of those times at any of those player counts, I can incorporate the expansion again to where I can just kind of see how all of that works together. And also, I kind of want to be a fan of this game and show it off to more people because I like it and I think that it's clever. I think the juxtaposition of happiness and ignorance, or happiness and knowledge, is really well done because when you can use multiple workers to do certain actions, but then it increases the risk of you overloading on knowledge and then having to also get rid of those workers. So there's this kind of interplay between wanting more workers to get more done and then also not wanting as many workers because it increases the risk of losing them, therefore making you start back again at smaller worker counts and action counts whenever you're playing. And then there's like 4 different dystopian factions within the world, and each of them has their own location that you go to, and those locations have different resources and different actions that you can do, and you can choose these like theme cards that allow you to either knowingly live in the lie or reveal the lie of the world. And so that it gives some cool player decisions based off of theme, which I really enjoy. Man, so I don't think it's going to leave anytime soon because I want to play it more. I want to give it more of a chance to see if it cements itself as not something that just interests me, but as a major game that I like and am satisfied by strategically and also from an experiential standpoint. Would you like it? If you like worker placement games and you have not played Euphoria, I think you should give it a try. If you like dice worker placement games, I think you should give it a try. If you are a fan of Stegmaier titles in general and you have not heard of this or have not played it, I think you should give it a try. If you like really good thematic integration with mechanics, I think you should give it a try. If you are more of a Ameritrash, I think that's such a stupid term, but it is the term that people use most frequently, and if I say it, people seem to know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you kind of like Ameritrash games where dice rolling is not based off of worker placement, and it's based off of luck-based combat, and you like more punchy, intense player interaction, this may not hit a sweet spot for you. It may be a little dry. But if you like any of those qualifiers that I mentioned previously, I think you would actually like this. Timestamp for retroactive timestamps if I missed any timestamps. Rating. I think this is probably another solid 7.5 for me. And I think that if the experience of more plays at 2, 3, and 4 player counts and the integration of the expansion, Ignorance is Bliss, I think if that goes well, I think this could stabilize at an 8 out of 10. Currently based off of my kind of intro plays when I was reviewing it that haven't given me the full ability of playing with the people that I typically would like to. I'd love playing games with my wife, but she, since we moved here, has been mostly pregnant. Now not pregnant, but equally tired, pre and post-pregnant. And then also, before she was pregnant, had a full work schedule, which is now relaxed, but she's post-pregnant. So all of the time that she's been here has been not really viable playtime with her in terms of her energy level or like verve and passion for games 8:30 onwards once her kids are down. So I want to play with her. I want to play with a couple other people, and then we'll see where the rating is, which will maybe inform whether it leaves or not. Timestamp, thumbnail. I think for the thumbnail, I am a massive fan of well-organized games. And I say that, and I know that as I open this, the top stuff is very slim portioned cards that are put in there, which is not my absolute favorite. A lot of this is stuff from the expansion, because I don't like keeping expansion boxes unless I absolutely have to. I will mess with that stuff later. But the thing I wanted to show off for the thumbnail is glorious game trays. I love game trays so much. Ooh, no, I should show off the dice, because it's a dice worker placement. All right, I'm going to show off the dice. Ooh. Boom. Satisfying inserts. I need to do a video that I should do that I was actually thinking about earlier today is I should do like top 10 or whatever organizers or inserts that I have. Yeah, like top 10 organizers or inserts, because I love a good insert. I think good inserts make games more accessible. And the more accessible a game is, the more likely you are to play it. I think, speaking of, I mentioned it earlier, I think that Dwellings of Eldervale is a colossal game. That if it did not have the organizer that it did, I don't know how often I'd pull it out. But that is a game that I would happily pull out alongside even a medium-sized game, because I'm like, I can just pull out all of these game tray organizers, spread them around the table, and the whole game's set up. It's It's so good. All right, I think that's a good thumbnail. We'll just stick with that. Timestamp for you, for the people. I think we're good. Ciao.